Hey guys, welcome back to Speech Bubble. I'm Butch Hartman. With me, as always, is the amazing, youthful Jace Diehl.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
And who's our guest, Jace?
We got Vic Mignogna again.
Vic Mignogna.
Hello, Jace. Hello, Butch.
Hey,
Hello.
Vic.
Nice to see
You do
you.
the voice of Ed on Fullmetal.
Yes.
Now, he's the dude who
He's the Fullmetal Alchemist.
He's the Fullmetal Alchemist, right? I thought he was a Fullmetal allergist. A whole different, is a different show. No, but you transmute stuff, right? You transmute things.
Yeah, well, yes, I do.
Could we transmute Jace into some kind of a
I
metal?
believe
What
it's
kind of a metal should it be?
possible.
Let's give it
What's
a
your
try.
favorite metal?
Oh, I love me some gold.
Okay, but no. How about aluminum? Here it comes.
I'm not so into that. Here comes
Energizing.
Whatever you want to. Oh,
You're Jace, you're tinfoil.
can I still talk as tinfoil?
We could baste a turkey with
I
him.
better try again. He's still talking.
Roll the theme music. All right, that was our amazing theme music. And I'm back
It was
with...
beautiful. It's everything I dreamed
Did
it would
you
be
like it?
and more.
Do you think you could hum the theme music for us? You
Sure,
Because we all heard it.
You want to hear it?
we all know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wrong. Wait, hold it. Wrong. That's Star Trek theme music. I know exactly.
That's the ship flying by, Jace.
Oh,
in case you didn't know.
I imagine it
That's
in my head.
the Enterprise flying past camera.
Exactly.
I could see it.
We used to get me on the Star Trek series because it'd be like space, the final frontier, and then they'd show the Enterprise come in, and the stars are floating by the Enterprise, like
Yeah.
they're dinky little stars.
Oh, yeah.
So as a kid, you're like, oh, the stars are really dinky, and then you'd see like a picture of the sun, which is a star, and it's like 8 billion times the size of the Earth. So I was confused by Star Trek.
Well,
Were others confused by Star Trek?
I doubt it.
Yeah, just me.
I think
only
you're
me.
in the minority
I
there.
know.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got the great Vic Mignogna here. It's like ordering a
Thank
filet
you. Wow,
mignon.
you know
right?
what? That's
Yeah.
really nice of you because nobody pronounces it that way. Unless you're in Italy.
Yes.
That's the right way
If
to
you're
pronounce
in the old country,
Yes.
it's Vittorio Mignogna.
Mignogna. And does that mean get me some steak? What does that mean? Does it
Means
mean
whatever you want it to
Hey,
mean.
wait, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hey, now Jace is here. He's no longer
Yes.
tinfoil, which I like. Jace is
Yeah,
more-
I'm back.
Well, transmutations are temporary.
Exactly.
They just don't last.
I'm halfway through human and it's tinfoil, so I'm kind of a mix.
I see you as kind of a rubbery, bendy character. That's what I see. You're kind of like that guy with the little bendy,
Gumby.
the little
Thank
wiry.
you.
Gumby.
Yeah,
Thank
Gumby.
you.
Gumby's good.
Right.
Any sort of action figure.
I will be your pokey.
Oh, no, wait a
That really
second.
means
I
a
just
lot,
say,
man.
Vic, this is a
really
family
means a lot.
broadcast. We don't talk
He
that
was
way.
Gumby's horse, but
Oh, that's right. My gosh.
and
Like,
a cute horse he was.
what's weird about Gumby is like the horse looks like a regular horse. Pokey the horse looks like,
Yep.
but then
He
Gumby
does.
Gumby's this weird green, bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
He bell-bottom pants.
Do you remember Eddie Murphy doing Gumby on Saturday Night
I
Live?
am Gumby. He
I'm
was-
Gumby.
Yeah, he was Jewish.
What are you doing? Yes,
He was like a
with
Jew,
the
a Yiddish
cigars.
guy. Yeah, like,
Yes.
I am Gumby. You don't talk to me that way. Yeah, it was so funny.
Don't disrespect me. I'm Gumby. Yeah.
Anyway, so Vic Mignogna is here, and Vic, I have a confession to make. Other than the fact I love your shirt,
Yes,
Vic
my
has.
friend.
Those of you listening, Vic has this amazing shirt on. It's I would say it's almost a half shirt because you're missing most of the
It's
material
not
in the
half
shirt.
a shirt.
It's like a sexy shirt with like holes
It's
all over
not.
it. Vic. Yeah, look at it.
I love my country.
Yes.
And I saw this shirt.
Kind of,
and I
because you
bought
have a
it.
full shirt. I was like, I
And
love
they
my
gave
country,
me
kind
and
of,
they
so
gave me a
kind of
discount
like-
because there's only 3/4 of the shirt here.
Exactly. So he loves 3/4 of the country. We're not saying
That's
which
right.
3/4 it is, but he loves 3/4. So Vic, I am so glad you're here. And I got another confession to make, other than the fact I love your shirt. The last time you were
Apparently
here,
you're a priest because we got a lot of
Yeah,
confessions.
this is
going
a
on here.
confessional booth. It's dark in here and
Go
everything.
ahead, please,
Jace-
my son.
Jace,
Yes.
forgive me for I've sinned.
What?
Jace was like, yeah, what's up? He's got his
Hey,
headphones
Give me
in.
your confession,
My
my son.
confession is last time you were here. Now, you know, Speech Bubble is all over the
Are
internet.
you going to confess to it?
I'm gonna confess to something. We do the audio broadcast.
This is great.
We do the audio broadcast. I am, and then we do the video broadcast, right? So last time you were here, we're taping you on video, or we're doing our cameras and everything, and then we're doing like the audio, and then I get a call at 3 a.m. from Jace. He's like, "Hey, Butch," and I'm like, "Yeah, Jace, why are you calling at 3
And
a.m.?"
he was all excited,
He's all
right?
excited, yeah.
He's trying to diminish it.
He's like,
Hey, man, I do it.
Guess what? And he's made of tinfoil, so he's basting a turkey
Yep.
with his body.
Right.
And he's like, Butch, how you doing, Butch? I'm like, Jace, it's 3 a.m. What do you want? And he's like,
This
you
actually happened.
You know that Vic Mignogna footage? I go, yeah. That means the most to me in the world. He goes, yes. We lost your footage. We have no videotape of you from the last podcast.
Did you guys hear that?
I know. It's my fault. Did
you hear that?
It's my fault.
Did you hear?
Did you hear? Yeah, no, don't go into the camera. Vic.
my footage.
But that's why I wanted you
Okay.
back.
It's okay. You
I
know
wanted
what?
Vic
As
back.
long as you had fun.
Thanks for taking the credit though. Thanks for
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't lose the footage.
and wait
You just said it's all my fault.
Way to
meaning
throw
you-
Jace under the bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'll give you. You can take the credit if you want it.
If I threw Jace under the bus, he wouldn't be killed because he's tinfoil now.
Yeah,
So that's
so thank
the
you
one
very
thing.
much.
Exactly. But dude,
I'll
I
just
wanted
be
to
flattened.
apologize
You're
because
welcome.
the audio broadcast came out. It was renowned. It won awards, but
Yeah,
but
and
your
awards.
video footage doesn't exist. So I'm glad you're back to get the
Well,
video
you
footage.
know what?
We're not. We have a card in this camera, right? We're
Whatever.
Not, yeah, we're not. We're
You
going,
want me to push record now?
but
These are
now-
pretend.
No, before. You know what? Whatever reason, whatever excuse, to
You're
be
back.
back here with you, I am
Thank
very
you.
happy to do
And look
it.
how great Vic's hair looks today, by the way.
It's always
He's
the
giving you a
greatest.
run for your money. Look at this hair. Look at the highlights. I'm
See,
just
you
saying.
guys don't realize this, but he's making fun of me
I
right
am
now.
not
No.
making fun of you.
He's making fun.
I'm jealous of your hair because we're like the same age. You have fabulous hair.
You have
both,
fabulous hair.
We're both
Yeah.
wearing toupees.
You
by the
have
way.
a...
This guy.
This is
Nah,
all
this is
fake.
20-year-old hair right
Yeah,
here.
that's 20-year-old hair. Yeah. Exactly.
21-year-old.
Well,
to be
21 now.
Well,
correct,
so you're
which is-
receding.
That's right.
Exactly,
That's
yes.
right. Which
No,
is why
I'm
he-
very
he-
happy to be
He's
back,
had 2
man.
glasses of lemonade today.
That's right.
No,
Slow
you know
down,
what?
man.
Whoa.
Pump the brakes,
Hey.
kid. Pump the
Exactly.
brakes.
But I'm glad you're back, man. It's always a dear friend Vic. He's here, and we talked about last time you were here. Now you're huge. We know for if you don't know, Vic is a huge Star Trek. I don't want to say fan.
No,
There's
that's
a level
too-
above.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to
It's like
yeah.
Hollywood Danny Phantom. You're more than a fan. You're more. You're
Yeah.
like a I guess a caretaker of it. You love it so much. You're the
A
caretaker.
torch bearer, perhaps.
Torchbearer,
Yeah.
yes,
That
and
actually
I,
works, yeah.
indeed, yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah,
for
and you know what? It's really funny because I fell in love with it when I was very young.
Yep.
Like 9, 10, 11 years old, 12. And
you. I fell in love with pizza, so it's kind of the same thing.
hey, I can eat pizza and watch Star
Yeah.
Trek. Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
That's exactly right.
But it inspired me in so many ways to try creative things that I'd never tried before. And ironically, things that I do professionally now, whether it be acting or production, like a film production, many of the things that I do now at a professional level, I tried for the first time because I was so inspired by that show.
That's awesome.
Whether it was the storytelling that moved me in a way that Lost in Space or Batman didn't.
I was going to ask you about Lost in Space because as a kid back then, I loved Lost in Space as well.
Dun, 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 dun.
And who did the theme song? Who did the theme song?
I know
Who wrote
this.
the theme
I know.
song? The great John Williams.
Oh, really?
It was John Williams,
No,
but he was
he did
listed
not.
as Johnny Williams.
I love that theme song. I love that theme song.
Yeah, do you like the Netflix Lost in Space?
I did, actually. I did very
I watched
much.
the first episode, and I haven't gotten past it yet, but I think it looks pretty cool.
It was really good. It was really good.
Will
I don't want to
Robinson?
spoil it for you, but I will.
Okay, go ahead. It's fine.
They're not really lost in space until the last episode of the first season.
Don't even tell me this. Don't spoil everything.
So if you haven't seen it yet, sorry.
It's not, he's spoiled everything.
But it's really great because there's this serious disaster
Yeah.
that takes place with the Robinson family.
Jupiter 2.
And in case you don't know, literary fans out there, will give you a little bit of education.
Mm-hmm.
The whole concept of Lost in Space is the Swiss Family Robinson,
In
the
space.
classic novel Swiss
Yep.
Family Robinson in space. It was the Robinson family. But the Netflix thing, the whole first season, they're with all of these other colonists, and they have a really bad disaster, and they're
Right,
trying to work through the disaster.
Right.
And in the very last episode, they is when they truly get lost in space.
Gotcha.
Cool, huh?
Very cool.
Yeah, and I loved it. I
As
loved
a kid,
it. I'm not a
loved-
big fan of remakes, but that one I really liked.
I liked Lost in Space. Ironically, I liked the first season of Lost in Space back in the '60s because it was black and white, and
Yep.
and Guy Williams was the hero, and Dr.
Yep.
Smith was actually
Oh my
really
gosh.
evil.
Yep.
He was an evil guy. It was really great, and then they turned the whole show into Dr. Smith, Will Robinson, and the robot. That's all
and
it
Dr.
became
Smith
about.
was this bumbling.
Yeah, you bubble-headed booby. Yes,
He was completely evil before?
You sir, come with me. Well, he's the reason they're lost in
Oh my
space.
goodness.
Dr. Smith was sabotaging the Jupiter 2,
Yeah.
and was what got them. And then he couldn't get off the ship, and then he got lost with them.
And you know what? Can I
Hence the irony.
use Lost in Space
Hence the irony.
to segue
Indeed you
into
can.
something else we were going to talk about?
And this is monkeys. Just wondering. It's always monkeys with you.
No.
No more monkeys,
I'm
Vic.
really
It's always.
excited to see this segue because I don't know how you're going to go from Lost in Space to monkeys.
No,
It's really-
that
Please
was
go ahead.
his segue.
Go ahead.
I know.
I'm
I
not
just wanted-
segueing
Oh, I
to
thought you were
monkeys.
going.
It's a
Okay.
thing. Got it.
Got it.
Here comes my segue.
All right.
I am currently narrating
Yes.
an audiobook called These Are the Voyages, and it is a very amazing, comprehensive book about the making of the original series of Star Trek.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool.
And the tie-in, the segue is that as I'm reading this book and learning all kinds of amazing behind-the-scenes facts, is that a lot of the people that worked on Star Trek, whether they were writers or directors or actors, they also worked on everything else of the day, like The Twilight Zone, Mission Impossible,
Batman.
Gunsmoke, Lost in Space.
Right.
And so I'm really loving reading this book and recording it. It's amazing.
So it's your voice on the audio.
Yes,
That's awesome.
but there are excerpts and actual quotes and excerpts from Gene Roddenberry and Leonard Nimoy and Dorothy Fontana and the people like Jerry Finnerman, the director of photography, or Matt Jeffries, who designed the Enterprise.
Jace is a huge Finnerman fan. Are you a huge
fan? Contain yourself.
Every time he comes in here, it's like, what? Tell me more. I'm like, Jace, stop talking about Finnerman.
I love Jerry Finnerman. It's Finnerman.
It's Finnerman.
Posters on my wall.
That guy.
Well,
we're on a first name basis.
Butch, it's Finnerman. And he walks out. He like slams his sippy cup down. And I'm like, Jace, come back.
You know what that reminds me of? My mom used to call it Star Trash.
Yeah.
Because I drove her crazy.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, I lived for that show.
Oh, yeah.
I would lock myself in my room for hours after all day, building models of the Enterprise or making costumes. And it made her so crazy that she literally would and by purposefully calling it a different name, get me so crazy, And
How often would the show
my
air?
uncle would call him Dr. Spock instead of Mr. Spock.
Because there was a Dr. Spock.
Right, who wrote
like,
the
really?
book, but
it's
not...
like, really? Do you have to call yourself Dr. Spock after come on, really? That's your name? I know, exactly. It came on once a week, and it was on CBS, Star Trek, correct? It was.
Actually, NBC originally.
Oh, it was NBC originally.
It was NBC originally.
Oh, wow. Because guys like Jace who are internet people who grew up on the internet,
and
they get instant
with his great
gratification
love of Jerry Finnerman, you're going to I'm going to see that you get an autograph
Jerry's the
picture.
best.
My
No,
friend.
but the fact that people of today who grew up with the internet, they can get anything they want whenever they want. Back when you and I were kids, we had to wait once a week
Oh my
to watch
goodness.
our
Probably
favorite
felt like
show.
years for you.
And you know what? There were no video recorders.
No,
so you
God, no.
couldn't tape a show and then watch it
Nope,
6 times.
nope.
The best
That
we
was
had
like-
was an audio recorder. I would put a cassette recorder
So would I.
Oh, yeah.
by the speaker of the television and record Star Trek, and then I would put the player under my pillow at night, and I would lay there and listen to the episodes, and I memorized every word.
Wow.
And Jace does the same thing with Jerry Finnerman's director of photography.
Well,
books.
he has
lays there.
he has a director commentary. It's great.
Yeah,
And it's just like
Okay, now
Speak to me,
I can't-
Finnerman. Speak to me. Speak to me.
give me your wisdom.
Give me your wisdom, Finnerman. The great.
he has a very mundane voice, but it's fine. I
You know
just
what, let me-
enhance it in my
But
head.
here's
also
now this is
dead.
really
Anyway.
interesting though. So this book quotes all of these people that actually worked on the show. I'm using our cast and crew from my web series,
Nice.
Star Trek Continues,
Which I absolutely love.
to voice the roles of these people on the from the original series. So when Jerry Finnerman is quoted, I have my director of photography, Matt Busey, is going to be the voice of him. And when Alexander Courage is quoted, who wrote the theme music, I have Andy Farber, who wrote orchestral score for my
I
series.
wish my last name was Courage, like Butch Courage. I really wish that was my last name. Can we
That is
please do
kinda
that
cool.
for this
We can change it.
podcast?
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, it'd be like Maverick, like on Top Gun.
Speech Bubble, starring Butch Courage,
Butch Courage.
and his faithful sidekick Jace.
Yeah, just Jace.
Jace Finnerman.
But the book
And
must,
Jace.
the book must be amazing because
And I'm Jace. Hello. Go get me a cappuccino, Jace.
made of aluminum.
Exactly.
Hello, everyone.
That's right.
So you're doing this
That's your superpower.
Now you're doing this audiobook,
Yes.
which is awesome. So, and I want to just point out one thing too, and I know you appreciate this. The original Star Trek, even though it was a sci-fi series, they had no money to do sci-fi effects on television, so they had to be super creative in the stories that they told.
Yeah.
They had to actually have characters people would want to watch on a weekly basis. Oh, and by the way, they're in outer space.
Yeah, you know what?
Which
This
is
is
what
another
which
thing-
people don't do these days. It's all about the effects.
Exactly.
anymore.
They spend way too much time on the visuals and not enough time on the story.
Right, exactly.
And you know what? This is another thing that I'm learning from reading this book. They did the best they could with the special effects, but when you read inner office memos between Gene Roddenberry and the network, or between Bob Justman, who was the first AD, and the special effects house that was doing the effect shots, this was groundbreaking stuff. Nobody had ever tried to do stuff like this before.
I know.
They were literally making it up as they went.
Yeah.
And like, necessity being the mother of invention. Check this out. Everybody knows beam me down, right? Beam me up, Scotty. Beam me up.
Yep.
Zzz, beam up, right?
Yep.
Do you know the reason that they even devised the transporter?
Why?
Because the network said it would cost way too much money for the ship to land every week.
Oh, to do a little. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, the ship can't land every week. We can't afford that kind of special effects budget. So out of necessity, they made up what may very well be
One of the
coolest,
iconic
sci-fi tropes
things
of all
that
time.
is now known around the world.
Yeah,
Beam
of
me
course.
up.
Yep.
Beam down. Beam up.
And real scientists trying to invent it. Like, that looks cool. I bet I could invent
Yeah.
that. How do we transport human beings without actually having to put them in a vehicle?
Yeah.
You know,
And
we should try with Jace right now.
here's-
Jace,
experiment and
here we go.
destroy my
There
molecules.
we go.
Yeah.
There's another thing that I learned is that Roddenberry actually employed scientists and technicians from major institutes, scientific institutes, and space organizations here in LA to bounce ideas off of them. Like he wanted the Enterprise to look like it actually could do what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And he would consult these people about things that we now have in our daily lives, like a communicator that flips open. It's a cell phone. And
What is that? What's a cell phone?
Pardon me?
What is that? What's a cell phone? Explain it to me.
It's
What
like,
is that,
you know,
Jace?
your iPhone?
Yeah?
it's in your
It's
pocket
not
right
like-
now.
Oh,
Don't
it's
look.
like, a phone?
Yeah,
Don't
no,
look
no,
right
yeah,
now.
it's more than just Angry Birds.
Oh, shut
And a
up.
home
Yeah, it's
computer.
way more than that.
I crush on Angry Birds,
Home
by the way. I'm
computers?
letting you know. Home
Yeah.
computers. Got
That's
it.
and
in the show.
voice recognition and so much technology that is now either been developed or being developed. But the reason because it was grounded in real technology, and Roddenberry made sure that it was. But I want to go back to what you said. What mattered to Roddenberry the most was the storytelling.
Yeah.
Everything else was just a vehicle for a powerful story. And when I started Star Trek Continues, that was my goal as well. Anybody can build a set. Anybody can make costumes. But it takes something more to tell a story that resonates with people, that has a theme or a message or a point to make.
And what a dream come true for you, because you got to, because Star Trek was canceled after 3 seasons, correct? And you basically
Abruptly.
Star Trek Continues. You basically took their it was like doing that series and finishing it off.
Exactly.
And that's what you
exactly.
do. And
At
when
the
you
beginning
watch
of every
it,
show,
it looks just like the original.
Butch,
series.
what did Captain Kirk say at the opening to every show?
On its 5-year
Space.
mission
Exactly. These are the
It's
voyages of the
5-year mission.
Starship Enterprise. It's 5-year mission.
to explore strange new worlds. You go.
You seek out new life and new civilizations.
Together.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Oh, come on. Bring us the footage, Danny.
Everybody!
He's over here. You want me to record now? Shall I
How do
press
I
record
record?
now?
We did that last
You know, but honestly,
chills. I have chills, Vic. It's crazy.
the original series was supposed to be a 5-year mission, and they were canceled without any really warning in their 3rd season. So my desire was, and then of course the next time you saw those
It
characters,
was in the 3rd season or after the 3rd season?
well, it didn't end. Let's put it that way.
I got it right.
Like it just stopped. They just stopped making it. So there was no more of the 5-year mission. And the next time you saw Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and those characters was
Star Trek
10
the
years
Motion
later
Picture.
in Star Trek the Motion Picture. And by that time, they'd all gone their separate ways and had taken different positions. So my goal with Star Trek Continues was to fill that gap. Pick up right where the original series left off and leave everyone right where they were when the motion picture picked them up.
Now I got to say, the motion picture. I remember seeing it because they only made it because Star Wars did so well. It's like because Paramount's like, wait, Star Wars? We have our own Starship franchise, and I got to admit, when I saw Star Trek: The Motion Picture, it kind of bored me. I think that it was a very boring movie.
You're right.
I know what they were trying to go for, but it was just a lot of they again we talked about earlier. All they focused on were the effects and not the story. I think there was a good story in there.
They were so excited that they could actually put the Enterprise on the big screen, and they were so excited that technology and special effects and optical effects had grown so much in the 10 years since the original series that they're like, we need to show off all that we can do now. And the story got kind of
Which is why when Wrath of Khan came out, that was a far better story.
yes,
and that's a
it was.
great movie. I love that one.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Romulan Ale.
arguably,
Romulan Ale. Bones, don't you know this is illegal?
it is. By bones. I'm touched. The Wrath of Khan is most people consider to be probably the best Star Trek feature film.
It's
What
a
do
great
you
one.
consider to be the best one?
It's the Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you know why? I'll tell you why. And I think they could have done this formula forever.
Yeah.
Take an original series episode
Yes.
and then the feature film would be the ramifications or
Of that episode.
the resulting effects from
you're
what the choices they made 10 years
You're
earlier.
thinking Attack of the Tribbles, right there. Tribbles, the motion picture. The Tribbles have just they've multiplied throughout the universe.
Tribbletown.
Yeah, Tribbletown. There's an episode of Star Trek.
They're like porgs, right? Basically.
Basically they're little fluffy
furry
sponges,
Yeah.
and they multiply and they just get all over the Enterprise.
Yeah.
That's probably the episode I would write. That's the episode I would write that episode. That's what I'm known for. So I loved in the last episode of Star Trek Continues that I saw your amazing series.
Thank
that
you for
you've done.
watching.
I did. I watch all your stuff.
Thank you.
Except Fullmetal Alchemist. I have no idea what that
And
is.
all the other ones. But go ahead.
And all the other ones, but you in the last episode.
If I could reach you, I would transmute you. I would transmute you,
will
in
not transmute
aluminum
me.
if I
You will
could.
not transmute me. Exactly, because I can sing the Star Trek theme
You're
song.
right. You're right. You're right. You get a pass.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
want to hear Barry White sing the theme song. Oh, baby.
Or the Bee Gees sing it. That'd be
Baby.
great.
These are the voyages.
Yeah.
Yeah, the VG sing.
Starship Enterprise.
On its 5-year mission, baby. Exactly. Oh, this
You were
is
saying about the
really
last
good.
episode.
The last episode was great because Captain Kirk, they have their mission finished. You finish the whole series. In the end, you're at a Starfleet Academy gathering, and Kirk, you have on the uniform from the Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Like Kirk was advancing from captain into admiral.
He
at that point.
accepted promotion, but here we were talking about story.
Well, I'll be wearing these outfits very soon.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about story here. Everybody knows that when the motion picture came out, Kirk was now an admiral at Starfleet. But everyone also knows that Captain Kirk loved his ship.
Yep.
So here's the question. Why? Why would he take promotion? Why would he ever let them take him off that ship and take a desk job? There's a powerful story to be told there. Mr. Spock. Spock had been in the service for like 15 years, like including Kirk and even before Kirk with Captain Pike. And yet when the motion picture picks up, Spock has gone back to Vulcan and is pursuing this discipline to remove all remaining emotion. So what is the question? Why? Why would he do that?
What
So
happened?
therein lies the story. Why are all these people where they are when the motion picture begins? And that's the story that we told.
We have to. I know. I think we need to expand on it.
StarTrekContinues.com.
There-
Shameless plug.
Star Trek continues. That's, what I think we should
That's
call
your
it.
new show.
On its 10-year mission
Star Trek Continues returns.
to explore speech bubble. Exactly. So there's that. Let me see here. You're working on a million cons you're at. I don't mean Wrath of Con. You're actually like at some Comic Cons. Where's the next Comic Con you're going to be?
Well, actually, day after tomorrow, I leave for Manchester, England. I'm doing the MCM Expo in Manchester.
Oh yeah.
And that's like a Comic Con in
Yeah, it's
Manchester,
a
England,
big
right?
one there, and the same people
I
put
should
on
go to
one.
these. I should go to
You
these.
should.
I
They
never
would
go to
love
them.
you.
I never go to these.
And bring your aluminum sidekick.
Yes.
They
And, hey,
would
you
love
could just
that.
Put me
Oh
in
my
a suitcase,
gosh.
fold me
The
up and put me
shapes
on
I
it.
can make him in.
Try to
Seriously.
figure out how to
Yikes.
sign your autograph in aluminum.
I can make him into a hat. I can make him into a TV antenna. Or pterodactyl. Yeah, exactly.
A little boat. Everything.
But you know what? I love meeting the fans. I love interacting with them and talking to
I do
them
too.
about the things that I did that moved them or made them laugh or got them through a difficult time. I mean, those are my most precious memories.
isn't
And
it-
so I do as many as I can. I was at Florida SuperCon last weekend, and I'm going to be at the MCM London Expo or MCM Expo this coming weekend.
Very cool. And besides the Fullmetal Alchemist, you do what else? What other animations do you
goodness.
do? Like 900 of them?
Yeah. Over 300.
Can you name like 4?
Dragon
100?
Ball Z,
Dragon Ball Z. Got it.
Pokemon,
Pokemon.
Digimon,
All of those.
Any other mons?
Naruto.
Yeah.
Oh, there are plenty of mons.
I think Heymon.
Gachimon.
Oh, yeah.
Gachimon. I know. What's the mon? Is that mean short for monster?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pokemon is pocket monster.
Pocket monster. But
Yeah.
Gachimon is not.
Digimon, digital
Digital
monsters.
monster.
But I've done over 300 different animated series.
Dude,
and
that
video.
is
I'm working on one right now that's really popular called Ruby. It's produced by an amazing company in Austin, Texas called Rooster Teeth.
Oh yeah.
They do a lot of great work.
Wait,
Wonderful
roosters
people.
don't have teeth. Explain this.
Well, there's some
That's it.
transmutation involved.
That's what
Let me
we
just
have.
say there's some
I-
alchemy
I'm
I'm
involved.
like
Vic's
the
behind it.
dumbest podcast host of all time.
Well, at
Put him in a
the-
chair, get a microphone, let him say whatever he wants.
and sing.
So tell me about chicken teeth, Vic.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
rooster teeth.
At these.
Oh.
But I just really, when you're if you're a stage actor, have you ever done any theater? I bet you have.
I actually have.
I knew it.
Eighth grade, Curtains the musical. What's up, everybody?
Curtains the musical. He was also in a new network production called Zach 2.0.
Correct.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Two productions.
He plays.
The other one was stage production.
He plays a kid named Curious Cameron. That's what he
Well,
plays.
so here's where I'm going with that. When you're doing a stage play, if you say a line or you give a monologue that's emotional, you feel the audience. I mean, they're right there, and you feel that connection. And if you say something funny, you've rehearsed it for weeks, and you deliver this line just right, and the audience breaks out in laughter, and you have other actors on stage with you that you're interacting with and creating moments. Voice acting, you have none of that.
Yep.
So if I were to give especially when you lose the footage,
Zero reaction.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're voice acting, you are essentially in a padded little phone booth, and if you say something heartbreaking, there's nobody crying.
I know.
If you say something funny, no one's laughing. So you really have no idea how what you're doing is going to translate. Yeah. So one of my favorite things is to go to events and have fans come up and say, oh my goodness, that scene in that show or that character just got me through such a hard time. And I'm moved often to tears because to be a part of things that have helped people or encouraged people or inspired people in the same way that Star Trek inspired me.
Yeah, amen.
Is really
and I'm the
priceless.
Same way.
It's priceless.
It is priceless, and I love meeting the fans. I love interacting with them, and I love when they do say, "You've inspired me. This really meant a lot to me." That really is what it's all about. And,
absolutely.
What I used to love when we did the voice recordings for Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Tough Puppy, everything, I would always direct the voices because I know what you mean. When you're in the room and you're in the solid glass, you can't hear if anybody's laughing. I wanted to be in with the writers on the other side because the writers are in there laughing. And what I would always do is when the writers would laugh at a joke, I'd hit the talk button so the actors could hear the laughter, so they would know if it was working. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
guys,
exactly.
It's working really well. But those moments, and those are some of my favorite moments when you work on a script for 4 or 5 weeks and you get to go and record it, and then it really comes to life the way you
I can imagine.
It's so cool. But
I wrote a lot of the stories for Star Trek Continues.
Yeah,
so
no, I saw that.
To see them in their completed form, and even more so to sit in an audience like at a convention and screen an episode with a live audience on a big screen. I just sit there and I tear up almost every time.
Yeah.
Even though I know these episodes so well from their conception to completion, it's so special to me and beyond any money to share them with other people and to see them move other people.
No, I want to make Gilligan's Island Continues. I really want to do that, because they have to get off the island, Vic. They have to get off the island. I want to play Gilligan.
I saw a movie where they got off the island.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did do a remake.
They did a huge movie in the 70s.
Yeah,
The Rescue of Gilligan's Island.
Skipper.
Yeah, and they all come back to society.
That was a great show.
And then they get lost again.
At the end of the movie.
And they wouldn't. And by the way, the original Ginger wasn't in it because she didn't.
Tina
want
Louise.
Tina Louise
She wouldn't do it.
She wouldn't do it
Because she was typecast. She felt like she was typecast in that role, and she could not. She felt she could not get a job after that because everyone. Oh, that's your Ginger from Gilligan's Island.
But she still should have done it because what else has she done after that? I was just kind of curious. I mean,
exactly. As an actor, I don't get that. Well, it's like people like on Star Trek, like people that played a role and they became world famous for that role, which you would think is your goal. You would hope for. You would hope to play a character that people would love all over the world. Yeah. And so I certainly would be grateful for such an opportunity. I wouldn't begrudge the fact that everybody knows me as Mr. Spock or everybody knows me as Luke Skywalker. Well, count yourself blessed, my friend, because that's kind of cool.
And everybody's got their own opinions, of course. But I think I personally would go for it too. If I was, hey, Butch, you want to play that character of Goofy Bob again? I mean, absolutely.
Sure.
They know me as Goofy
Wait,
Bob.
You're Goofy Bob?
I'm Goofy Bob.
Wait,
from
I never connected
from
the dots.
Razzmatazz. That's me.
Exactly.
Remember the Razzmatazz?
The John Belushi movie?
Yeah, that's right. That
film.
was me. Wow. The John Belushi movie. Before I let you go, the new Star Trek Discovery on CBS.
Yeah.
They just released a trailer for that.
Yes.
And the guy who plays Captain Pike in that show reminds me of you. I saw that. We were both looking at it today.
Who said it first?
You said it first.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he goes, looks like Vic.
I saw the thumbnail. I was like,
would you believe that?
Far more handsome in real life,
well,
just letting you know. But
you're very kind.
Yeah, but I was like, that guy looks like Vic Mignogna there. Yeah. Did you?
Well, you know what? It's funny you should say that because I had not yet seen the trailer. And about 2 days ago, I was looking through our Star Trek Continues page on Facebook. and there was a huge thread with a picture of him. And underneath it, whoever posted it started out by saying, "Is it just me or does this guy look like Vic?"
Yeah.
And there were 100 comments.
Yeah.
How much people thought it looked like me.
And they're taking they're bringing actually original characters back into that show now. Did the first season do well or not? Did it do okay?
No.
Didn't do that good.
Did the first season not do well?
Because it's
Well, it was on. It was all access.
Yeah,
it
which
was,
not
it was
a lot of
on their
people have the
pay. Their
streaming
kind of
service.
CBS is kind of launching a pay per view kind of a thing.
Got it.
And
Okay.
and they actually their flagship christening
Show
was Star Trek Discovery.
Cool.
It's very different. The first season was very dark and very action
Everybody
driven.
thinks they gotta go dark.
Yeah,
with
and I
everything.
don't know
get
why
it.
they
Yeah, I
couldn't, because here's the thing, and I love Star Trek, and I will support Star Trek, especially if, like I told Jace earlier, it drives people to go watch what started it all.
Exactly.
The original. But the thing about Star Trek that made it so unique is that it was hopeful, and it provided this bright, optimistic view of the future where human beings weren't at each other's throats anymore and they bonded together and they ventured out into space unified. It was a positive message. And it was created, if you think about it, during the 60s when there were all kinds of racial upheavals and political upheavals and wars and Roddenberry envisioned, wouldn't it be great if 100 years or so from now we got past this stuff and we're able to come together. So that's what Star Trek is. And to create a new Star Trek,
They're turning it into Star Wars.
to create a new Star Trek that is all about ship battles and fighting Klingons and dark, vicious, angry.
Yeah, it's just pretty
that's
typical.
not classic Star Trek. Now, in their own defense, I hope they're moving toward that. Because if you think about it, Discovery takes place before the original series.
Yeah.
So what they may be doing is they may be going back before the optimistic, hopeful original series and say, this is all of the conflict that was happening before that will ultimately resolve and lead us up to this.
Could be.
I hope that's where they're going.
Me too.
I don't know.
I've
but-
heard from a lot of podcasts. I'm not an expert at Star Trek.
Wait,
but
whoa. You listen to other podcasts?
No, it's just this one over and over again.
Somebody
yes,
tied him
yes.
down and
Yeah,
made him
Yeah,
listen.
I was
Is that what
being
happened?
tortured.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't make me
right.
listen
But
to
you're
this.
made of tinfoil. It didn't hurt.
No, I've heard,
Gosh.
I've heard a lot of people say that most Star Trek shows, the first season isn't very good, and then the second season, third season, that's when it gets good. Like the first initial part of it is mediocre, and then from there it's a good kickstart.
Well, I would say that it's fair to say that almost any new series
Yeah, sure.
in its first season is finding its footing.
Mm-hmm.
It's figuring out who it is and actors figuring out who their characters are, and you start to kind of hit your stride after with, inside the first season or second season, except for the original series. The original Star Trek, the stories right out of the gate were compelling, wonderful stories. And the second season was really great. The third season, people kind of had a problem with because they kept getting their budget cut. The studio didn't want to make it. It cost them too much money.
Yeah.
And they kept trying to kill it. They kept trying to torpedo it. And the fans would rise up and write these letters, and so they kept it going.
No,
but they
no
put it in-
internet back then. Had to write letters.
Exactly.
Oh,
Actual
letters.
letters.
I mean paper and pencils.
Pencils, yeah. Stamps.
Crazy.
And so, but they would keep cutting its budget, and they would put it in different time slots
Oh.
that, like, it would lose viewers.
Yeah.
And finally, they just kind of ended it. But you're right about what you just said about not the first season not being so great. But I think it's that way with almost any production.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
With Star Trek Continues, our first episode was a really good episode. But 2 or 3 episodes in, we were really starting to hit our stride and tweaking the lighting.
You guys didn't.
and our
You guys
performances
didn't
got
make
better.
a bad episode. There's not even one I watched.
I don't
that
think
went,
so either.
You guys, they were all great.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that because you're sitting here. When you leave, I swear, when you leave, I'm going to say the same thing. Now, one thing I think you should make before I let you go, I think you should take is you love William Shatner. I think T.J. Hooker continues. We should do that. Just make T.J. Hooker the cop.
I can do that.
I think you could.
In fact, I used to be a cop.
I'm an LA cop. I'm a cop in LA.
I used to be a. Did you know that
You were a cop?
I was a
When was
police
that?
officer.
When were you a police officer?
My first 2 years out of college, I was a
Wow.
cop in Maryland.
You were?
What was that like?
Officer Mignogna?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Did you bust anybody's
Oh,
head?
I sure did.
Did you bust heads?
Oh, I had a Colt 357 and
No
powers
way.
of arrest, sworn in by the mayor. Drove my marked police car. Yeah, the whole works.
Wow.
It was
How many years were you a cop?
just 2.
Wow.
It wasn't a career move. My mom was good friends with the chief of police.
Okay.
And I graduated, and I didn't have anything in particular lined up at the moment, like right out of college.
So who better to be a police officer?
Well,
than-
and you know what? And it's funny, as an actor, I thought, wow, what a chance for some real theater, huh? I could play a certain kind of cop one day, and I could
Good
act.
cop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could act like a jerk cop the next day, and
Right.
officer friendly the next day, and so it was
Can I
a
see
lot
your
of
license and registration, please?
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know
There
how
you go.
fast you were going, sir?
Can you assume the position, please? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, I had some very dangerous experiences as well. And
Well,
some-
sure.
And so it was a really interesting experience, but it wasn't something I had planned to do for a long period of time.
So you're Officer Mignogna to me now.
I
You are.
could be TJ Hooker.
You could be T.J. Hooker. I love the shot in the title. He's on top of the car.
Oh, when he slides across, yeah.
He slides across the car. Then he's on top of a car.
Yeah.
Fully dressed in his outfit and his cop up. It was
Well,
funny.
and you know what? Shatner's like 86 years old now, and he'd still do that.
He would still
like
do
he is as. I mean, because I just saw him last week at Florida SuperCon.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He walked into the green room and he's like, Vic, and I went over and hugged him. And I mean, he is as
He's powerful.
strong
He's a
and
powerful man.
Yeah, and he's active. Like he rides horses, and he is he's quite a.
He busts heads. He transmutes people like Jace into other metals. Other
Have you
metallic
told
things.
Vic about when you met William Shatner?
When I met William Shatner years ago, I was pitching a cartoon called Fish and Chip, and it was about a shark and a lynx who work at a bomb
I
squad.
love it already.
Exactly.
I
and
love
we wanted,
sharks.
it was a giant shark, and we wanted the shark to talk like William Shatner. So we had the brilliant idea to go get William Shatner to do the voice of
gosh, I
Fish.
love this
So we
story.
actually got an appointment with him. My friends and I got an appointment. Two buddies and I went to Universal Studios because he wanted to meet us. And we go in. We're like, "Hey, Mr. Shatner," I have my little drawing, and he's like, "Hi guys, come on in." And so. But he's sitting there behind a desk and he's signing like a stack of Star Trek posters. He's got an assistant who's just pulling them aside and he signs them.
Yep.
It's like, so tell me about your cartoon. And we're talking. Well, it's about a shark and a lynx. I love it. I think it's really funny. And he's signing and he's signing. And I said,
We want you to be the shark. I'll be both.
He goes,
I can do everything.
but
I can do both ones.
I go, I'll be both. I'm William Shatner. And I said, I can help you sign some of those posters. And he looks up and he goes, I don't think so. And then after that, we had a second meeting with him. He wanted to have a second meeting. So the second time we went to Universal back again, and he was doing an episode of Sequest. Remember that show?
I do remember.
In the early 90s called
Sure,
Sequest?
sure,
It was Star
sure.
Trek underwater, basically. And he was playing a bad guy. So we had to
Was
go
that
to...
Roy Scheider? Was that
Roy
Scheider's show?
Roy Scheider
From Jaws.
from Jaws.
Oh, okay.
Another
He
movie you've never
he
seen.
was the sheriff.
No, of
the
course I've
town.
seen
Exactly. But what's it about? Tell me right now.
I'm giving you a frame of reference.
There's like a lynx and a shark.
That's
right?
it. So stop talking.
Okay.
so-
Continue.
no, but we go to William Shatner's dressing room. He's in a trailer. Come on in, and he's got a fake mustache. He has a fake mustache because he was playing the bad guy. He's like, I want to tell you, I really love this cartoon. I think it's really great. And then we couldn't do the cartoon for various reasons, but
darn
we
it.
couldn't do. But he really was into our cartoon. Yeah. So
Next time I see him, I'm going to have to ask him.
Yeah. I mean, did you? He would
Bill,
probably never
remember the shark cartoon?
And he'll go like, "Oh my god, I wanted.
I still
wanted
dream
to
of
do
it.
so bad.
I still dream
I
about
dream
it.
to this day."
But you know what? I love him to death, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to be, to have created a character that everybody on the planet has heard of.
yeah,
I mean,
totally.
and
It's been 50. I mean, it's been 50 years.
50 plus.
It's crazy.
And he is as active as he ever was.
Yeah.
I mean, he does so many events, and he's always involved in. He's always got some project going.
He was in two of the best Twilight Zone episodes I've
Oh
ever
my
seen.
gosh!
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The two of them, the one where him and the girl go sit in the
Right.
little diner with the
Yep.
little machine that predicts the
Yep.
future.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And then the Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
Yeah.
That's probably the most iconic one.
That's,
Oh, yeah.
Who directed that? By the way, Mr. Richard Donner, who directed the Superman
that's
movie.
right.
That's right. See, I know geek stuff. I know some geek stuff. But anyway, but Shatner, huge hero.
And as I'm reading this book, I'm bringing it full circle here.
Yes.
As I'm
Well
narrating,
done, by the way.
as I'm reading this audiobook and narrating it and learning all of these things, one thing that really I loved and it really struck me was every single person in that time thought Shatner was the bomb. Like guest stars, actors that they would bring and be like,
Really?
Bill Shatner was the most amazing actor, and he was so funny. He had everybody on the set cracking up, and he was so full of energy, and just, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And then like writers and directors would say, I can't believe we got William Shatner to play this role. He was a very, very well-respected Shakespearean actor
At the time.
At the time.
Before Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
that's why they were totally jazzed
Wow.
that they got him. So everybody that I'm reading through this book just had nothing but the most glowing things to say about him.
I got to get him on this podcast.
you
I'll have both of you. If I get William Shatner on this podcast, you got to come on with him.
Gosh.
I
would love
both
it.
Captain Kirk.
Okay,
we're gonna say goodbye to Vic now.
All right.
Okay, say goodbye. Say goodbye, Jace.
Goodbye.
Goodbye,
No, don't
Jace.
really say goodbye.
No, I want to sell the book too, because from what you're saying, like, you're the biggest Star Trek fan there is. If you're learning things about this book, like, if you're a Star Trek fan,
It is
gotta
really
get it.
wonderful. It's
Yeah.
really interesting
And it's
stuff.
called These
These
Are
are
the
the
yeah, what's
voyages,
this called?
and the author Mark Cushman
Got it.
has written 3 books, one for each season of the original series.
Wow.
So this is season 1,
Yep.
which is all about where did Gene Roddenberry come from? You know what I mean? And he was writing for all of these shows,
Yep.
and then he pitched Star Trek, and it got made. And so the first book is season 1, second book, third book are seasons 2 and 3.
Cool. Are you narrating all 3 books?
Well, I don't know yet. It's a big project.
You know, don't you have,
they'd like me to.
Leonard Nimoy's son is going to be.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Adam Nimoy.
Wow.
Is reading his dad's excerpts. Chris Doohan is reading his dad, Scotty, his dad's
And
excerpts.
he was on Star Trek Continues with.
Oh
you.
yes, he played
was.
Scotty in my series.
And he looks like him too.
But
Yeah, it
but
looks
we've
just
got a lot of great people involved in the project. It's a daunting project.
I think it's
So
awesome.
I haven't yet committed to doing 2 and 3.
Okay.
But
Would
I
you-
am 22 chapters into a 38
That's
chapter
amazing.
book.
That's amazing.
So
So when do you have to have it done?
when it's done.
When it's
Yeah,
done. Done.
that's
Literally,
good.
the publisher said, "Can you have it done by July 1st?" And I said, "No."
Good. Yeah.
How about August 1st? It'll be done because I have all these other things that I do.
Yeah, let me
And so
notice
they're
that.
basically, they've kind of given me carte blanche. They're basically like, look, you make it.
Right.
You produce it,
Right.
you record it, you read it, you bring in anybody you want, cut it, edit it however you want. If you want to interject your own thoughts on an episode,
yeah, it's awesome.
feel free.
Wow.
It's amazing.
So it's a wonderful opportunity, but it's very time consuming.
Jace, you're doing speech bubble the audiobook. You're going to be.
Oh, yeah, no, I've been
all the
re-listening to
excerpts
every
of
one,
every
yeah.
episode. Because you don't listen to other podcasts. I know that you don't listen.
No, of course, unless
No.
I'm tortured.
That's
Will
what I thought.
you
Yeah.
dub my voice?
All right.
You
Yeah.
dub me and make me like more.
I'll do
manly
the
and-
commentary over the
Right.
Star Trek
And when I do
Please do that.
Gilligan's Island Continues, I want you to be the professor.
Can I?
Yes,
Who
you
can I be?
Absolutely.
Who do I get to be?
You're Gilligan, of course.
What? Oh, really?
You're Skipper! I want to thank Vic Mignogna for being here. Thank you very much. And we can see you in Manchester if we go to Manchester.
I hope so. Yeah, if you happen to live over there in the UK near Manchester, I'm going to be in London in the fall and Glasgow, Scotland in the fall. But thank
Scotland!
you. Oh, hey.
Hey, that's
Hoping to come back and visit with you guys more.
absolutely, man. Good to see you, Vic.
And
Thank you
the
very much.
aluminum thing wears off.
It
Oh,
does.
good. Okay.
You'll
I'm starting to
eventually.
feel
You'll be
the
back.
effects.
You'll be back to
Eventually.
new
Not
in
feeling too good.
a week or
I
so.
have some meatloaf. We have to use him to rap. So, all right, guys, roll the theme music.